This doesn't look too bad, does it? £59 for a two-person tent. But is it any good for winter wild camping in the UK? I suppose I'd better buy one and find out. The forecast today is for winds of around 35 kilometres an hour. And as always, a bit of rain. So it should be a good test for the Phoxx 2 tonight. We've just had the back garden done. What do you reckon to the rockery? Not very often you see me with my tent on the outside of the pack. Got plenty of winter warmers in here, so I didn't want to push it. I did actually put this in to start off with, and it will squash down quite a bit smaller. So here's the tent, the Phoxx 2, the version 2 by OEX. I've never pitched the tent before, so I have opened it up and checked that everything's there. So we'll give it a go, see how easy it is to pitch. Now the poles, as always, I've kept them separate from the main tent. Don't know the exact spec, but they do look like 8mm aluminium poles. The fit on these poles isn't brilliant, they're not butting right up to the end. Potentially this could be a weak point, but we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. This weighs in at 2.1 kilo, which isn't bad at all for a two-person tent. It's got a nice little roll stuff sack for it, which has got plenty of room, so it's dead easy to get the tent back in. I'm going to put a ground sheet down, but it didn't come with the tent, so you might want to purchase one of them separately. The tent did come with pegs of its own, but yeah, I always use my own stakes, but the ones that came with it look like this. So the first thing that I don't like about this tent, as you're finding out now, is you have to pitch the inner first, and when it's raining that's not ideal, so I'd better be quick. Right, let's see if we can fathom it out, shall we? So your stakes just go through these big loops, which means there isn't any adjustment, you know, if you find a hard bit of ground or something. Fitting the poles looks a doddle. Looks like I've cocked up. I should have put the pole through this sleeve first. That's more like it. It's starting to look like a tent now. I'll try not to make the same mistake again. I'll clip the bag onto my rucksack so it doesn't blow away. And just inside there's the instructions. I probably should have read them before I pitched up. This is a right faff. You should be able to pitch all tents both inner and outer at the same time. So I'm already having to move these a little bit to adjust the position of the tent. There's a couple of little guy lines with those ring type of adjusters. One of these little flap things for ventilation, and a couple of guys from the peak of the tent. There we are, all pitched up. That looks sturdy enough. Quite impressed with that. So the only thing I didn't like was having to put the outer of the tent, or the fly, on top of the inner. I much prefer it when you can pitch both at the same time. Let's go and have a quick explore, shall we? Oh, the view's alright from up here, look. Well, I think it's going to be a windy one. We have got some reasonable protection though from this big fella. So why did I buy this tent? I don't need it, but I've had a lot of people say that all the tents that I use are a bit too expensive. So I thought it's only fair to take a look at something that isn't going to break the bank. So I thought I would test it out in some moderate conditions and then I'll give it away to one of my viewers. So make sure you keep watching to find out how you can win this tent. It's like a palace in there, isn't it? So the vestibules aren't really that big, so if you've got a big backpack you might need to go inside the tent with you. I am going to try and cook from in here as well, so we'll see if there is enough room for that. Toggle system's not great. This would be much better if it had bungees on it. And the inner has got a fair amount of sag, but you know, once that's zipped up it may add a bit more tension to it. I can sit up in it though, but if you're 6 foot plus you might find that your head's touching the top a little bit. But it's £60, so you know, you can't expect everything for that kind of money. It looks like there's a decent balance of mesh area, you know, and solid material, so I do think I'll be plenty warm enough in here tonight. Not sure about that view though, are you? So we've got a couple of pockets at the head end, so put your mobile phone, car keys, that kind of thing. It's double entry, so your missus or mate can get in from the opposite side, which means there's another little vestibule for a bit more storage space as well. They definitely need some kind of adjustment system on them. That's dead easy to do with a little bit of guy line or cord. It's the sort of gap you've got between the fly and the inner. I imagine they'll be touching at some point throughout the evening. I might close that little vent up later if it starts to get cold. Whoa, it's a little bit breezy. Oh, don't fancy rock hopping in this wind. It is gorgeous though, isn't it? Got the place all to myself now. That's where I camped when I did my therapy video. Need a bit of that at the moment, to be honest. Time for a bit of grub, I think. After my last cooking effort, I've got some Coleman extreme gas. This goes down to -27 allegedly. I don't think there's quite enough room in here to be getting the jet boil with the fly closed. There isn't a huge amount of room in here for cooking in. Probably get a small canister stove in. It's gorgeous but freezing, so I'm getting in the tent. Yeah, I think that's point proven. There's no room there to do much cooking. There's a little hook on the top for your lantern. There's plenty of room to chill out for one person in here. I did look at the OEX Phoxx 1. And I don't reckon that's any bigger than my Rab Ridge Raider. So that's not going to be suitable for most people. I think something this kind of size is perfect for solo wild camping in the UK. You can fit all your gear in here. There's not a load of room for cooking, but if you're careful about where you pitch up, or you could even make a little porch with the door, you should be fine cooking just outside the door there, like I have tonight. All the zips on the tent seem pretty good. There's a nice wide entrance to the doors. However, these tie back things are rubbish. It might be if you take the time to roll them up really tight that they hold firm, but I just want to easily just roll them up and get in the tent. So it might be one of those nights where I need the earplugs, because it is a little bit flappy, but it seems really robust on the outside, so I don't think there'll be any issues at all with the tent standing up to the wind. I'm missing the solid panels of the Hilleberg, if I'm honest with you. As all 3-season tents, it's a little bit drafty, but it's doing a job. How do? As you can see, the tent's still standing. No issues at all putting up with all the wind that we had last night. You might be able to hear the rain outside. Well, there's no condensation at all on this inner tent, which is really good. You know, sometimes on the Hilleberg, you get some moisture around here. I'm guessing this big bit of mesh here has got something to do with that. There is some moisture on the inside of the fly though, so there's a little bit of condensation, but with the conditions and the temperatures. I expected it to be a lot worse, to be honest. So overall I'm really happy with how this performed. So the Phoxx 2's done a really good job in cold and windy conditions. Seems to be holding out the rain no problem at all. I don't know what it'll be like with snow loading, but that's for one of you guys to check out. The view isn't quite so spectacular this morning. You can see the water beading off the tent really well though. I'm not sure what the hydrostatic head is on it. If I remember, I'll put it up on the screen. Look at it bounce. Tried to close this flap in the night. These could do with a bit of velcro on there, so the wind does make it flap around a bit. But overall I don't think it's much different to something like a Vango Banshee, although the Banshee you can pitch in and out at the same time, but that's twice the price. The Phoxx 2 did me proud last night, but I'm not keeping it. I'm going to give it to one of you guys. So you've got till 7 PM on Christmas Day to enter, and all you need to do is be subscribed to the channel and comment below where you would like to take this tent camping. So it's really easy to enter, and I'll read the comments and I'll pick a winner, and then I'll announce it on my YouTube community feed later on Christmas Day. I'll get all my sleeping gear packed away, and then we'll see how easy it is to take this tent down. So I will dry this out thoroughly before sending it off to the winner. So the inner is bound to get wet a little bit, so I don't know how good this tent will be for multi-day trips, but we'll get it packed away as quick as we can. Get as much of the water off as I can. Now I'm going straight into the bag. This is much more difficult when your hands are cold. Does seem to be dropping down really easily though. These poles were perfectly strong enough. I've packed as quick as I can, but as you can see, the inner of the tent's got quite wet. So in summary, if you've only got 50 or 60 quid to spend on a tent, then I don't think you're really going to get much better than the OEX Phoxx 2. That's everything packed up. Battery and the microphone's died. That's what cold weather does for you. All that's left for me to say is to thank you all for following me in 2020. I hope you've had a great Christmas, and I hope that 2021 is much better for all of us. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.